Alan Roger Currie is back in the saddle. Welcome to video podcast number 67. This probably won't be too long. I just want to really let you guys know I had a very relaxing and enjoyable Thanksgiving break. If you're a new listener, new viewer, check out all my important links in the description section below. My main website is directapproachdating.com. Directapproachdating.com. And for women and couples, if you want BDSM and or polyamory consulting, my website is mode1.net/training. Mode1, MODEONE.net/training. That's my website for BDSM/polyamory consulting for women and married and unmarried couples. You can also find my biographical information on Wikipedia, wikipedia.org. The link is below. Just to refresh your memory, who I am. There's one person who knows who I am, and that's my female assistant, Alexa. Alexa, who is Alan Roger Currie?
Alan Roger Currie is an American dating coach, self-help author, motivational speaker, and YouTube personality.
That's right. I love that shit. I want her to say that again. Hey Alexa, who is Alan Roger Currie?
Alan Roger Currie is an American dating coach, self-help author, motivational speaker, and YouTube personality.
That's right, motherfucker. That's who Alan Roger Currie is. I'm a little dejected. You know, they've been having all these allegations and accusations of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, rape, date rape, and all assorted other related infractions. And one of my idols got hard hit, man. If you know from my Blog Talk Radio days, see here on YouTube, at least not yet, I don't do too much interviewing. I did a couple interviews while I was at the 21 convention in Orlando, Florida, with the organizer of the event, Anthony Johnson. But other than that, I haven't done any interviews, but I do plan on doing some in 2018. But on Blog Talk Radio, probably 75-80% of my episodes was interviewing people, particularly other people in the dating relationships field. Anyway, when I first started my show upfront and straightforward on Blog Talk Radio, I tried to emulate the interviewing style of a blend of three people, minimum, three people. There might have been one or two other people, but mainly three people. Ed Bradley, former correspondent on 60 Minutes. He was the one brother on 60 Minutes for many years before he passed away. Tim Russert used to be the legendary host of NBC's Meet the Press. Love Tim Russert. He was thorough. And finally, Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose, man, had his own PBS show. He was a contributing correspondent on CBS 60 Minutes. He was on CBS Morning Show. Man, CBS fired Charlie Rose. And PBS terminated their contract with him because he had some accusations and allegations of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct levied against him. Broke my heart, man. I love me some Charlie Rose, man. Love me some Charlie Rose. They brought down Charlie Rose, man. But if I'm being objective, I can't really defend him either. Just like I said, most of these guys who've been accused of sexual misconduct and sexual harassment, I told you, man, if a man in the media or entertainment industry or in the world of politics or business was mode one with the women that he's trying to fuck, and then these women tried to accuse him of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct, that's when I'll defend that dude to the death. But if you wasn't mode one, man, I can't defend you, man. Charlie Rose wasn't more one with these women he was trying to fuck. He was trying to sneak in the side door, man. You remember my video I talked about the side door? See, that's why I wrote more one, man. Because so many guys, man, that's how they try to get the pussy, man. They try to go through the side door. When I say the side door, that means you try to sneak into a woman's panties. You try to be subtle, indirect, vague and ambiguous. Use, real subtle sexual innuendo. You do non-physical, more physical stuff like groping women. Like Charlie Rose, he was groping women and touching on their thighs and shit, man. Even though he's one of my idols, man, I can't defend him on that, man. He's walking around in a bathrobe with the bathrobe open so women can see his dick and shit. Why not just come out and tell these women, man, you want to fuck them, man? You see how hard that is? And this demonstrates another... Uh-oh, I hear fire trucks. Oh, first, I know you're probably tripping off my background. It's a deviation. I got some new digs, man. This is my new
home office. I don't know if this is going to be my regular recording spot for my video podcast, but until I get my new place organized, this is my new home office in my new digs, and so that's why you don't see the basic white background. I do have at least one or two areas in my new digs that has like a basic, just plain background, which is what I prefer. I don't like busyness in the background. But for now, this, for at least the rest of this week, this might have to do. But yeah, so that's why it looks different. I'm in a different place. Yeah, man, Charlie Rose, man. Oh, I was gonna say, wait a minute. I gotta do my. Damn, I don't like the lighting. Damn, it's bright. I can't even see my bottle. I don't know if this is gonna turn out right because the lighting is too. Damn. Hold on. I think that's a little better. Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. Oh, I was going to say about Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose got a lot of power and influence in the media. Got a lot of money. What does it prove again? What does it prove again? I hate to always, beat a dead horse, but sometimes I got to beat a dead horse. Because one of the things I receive from my haters and critics is they'll say, Alan, pulling women is all about money, fame, power, and status. Money, fame, power, and status. Money, fame, power, and status. Charlie Rose had all that. And he ain't got it no more because he wasn't more one. If money, fame, power, and status was the key to sexual success with women, then Charlie Rose would have had his way with women. As would Harvey Weinstein, as would 90% of these motherfuckers who've been accused of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct in Hollywood and the media. So that lets you know that that's bullshit. This is the thing that I've said a few times before, and I'll say again. I don't understand how you can be a man who is in favor of tricking, but yet you turn around and talk about how fucked up women are. That don't make no sense to me. You have to explain that to me like I'm a fifth grader. That makes no sense to me. Seriously. How can you be pro-tricking
but then turn around in the same breath and say most women in society are fucked up. Why do you think they fucked up? Why do you think they fucked up? I talk about that in my original Mode 1 book in chapter 2. Tricking is one of the number one things that contributed to women being fucked up. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to find this article. And if I do, I'm going to put the link in the comments section. They did an experiment with some monkeys. Some monkeys, of all things. They trained some female monkeys to only give up sex to the male monkeys in exchange for some type of reward, some type of incentive or reward. Guess what happened? You could say it was the monkey equivalent to tricking. Guess what happened? Guess what happened in this experiment? Before they trained the female monkeys to want something in exchange for sex, the female monkeys gave up sex pretty freely and easily. But once they trained these women, these female monkeys to want an incentive or reward in exchange for sex, that's when the female monkeys start making it hard for the male monkeys to get sex from them. They start denying sex. Matter of fact, a good book I recommend in my original Mode 1 book, I don't know if I mentioned it in my updated version. Speaking of my updated version of Mode 1, you know it got up to number 3 recently? That's my highest ranking since it was number 1 in late April, early May in the category of communication skills on Amazon. Yeah, in the last week and a half, it got up to as high as number 3 in communication skills. Now, to be fair, Amazon's rankings change not only every day, but like every other hour. I think it changes like once every 2 hours, your rank. So you can be number 1 at 12 noon on Tuesday, and by 2 p.m. or 4 p.m., your book could drop down to number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, whatever. So I want to make that clear. You know, just because your book becomes number 1 at one moment doesn't mean it's going to permanently stay number 1. All my books have been up and down. But I track my rankings. I check my rankings probably at least once a day, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. But yeah, my updated ebook version of Mode 1 got up to number 3 a few days ago. That's the highest ranking since it was number 1 in late April, early May. But in my original Mode 1 book, I highlight this book by this author named Alfie Kohn. Alfie Kohn, Kohn. He wrote this book called Punished by Rewards. Punished by Rewards. It's a real good book. And one of the things he talks about in his book is that when you offer people incentives and rewards to do something that they should be doing for free, it causes that person over time to demand more. For example, let's say you're a parent of 2 sons, and you tell your 2 sons to clean their room. Now, technically, if you tell your 2 sons to clean their room, they should clean their room simply because you told them to clean their motherfucking room. You shouldn't have to offer them any type of incentive or reward. But what Alfie Kohn argues, he says, let's say you do offer your sons reward. You say, hey, if you clean your room, I'm going to give you a scoop of ice cream. He says after a few days or a few weeks, they're going to be like, well, I want 2 scoops of ice cream in exchange for cleaning my room. Then if you give them 2 scoops, a few days or a few weeks later, they're going to be like, I want 3 scoops of ice cream in exchange for cleaning my room. Then you give them 3 scoops of ice cream, then a few days, a few weeks later, they're going to be like, I want to be able to stay up late an extra hour, plus I want 4 scoops of ice cream and 2 cookies. And they're going to keep raising the incentive. That's what people do. He said basically that's the human nature of people, man. If you offer somebody one thing, one type of incentive or reward in exchange for something, they're going to just naturally keep upping the ante. That's what a lot of women do, man. That's what a lot of women do when you constantly resort to tricking. If you offer a woman, say, $75 for a blowjob, a few days or a few weeks later, she's going to say, well, I want $100 in exchange for sucking your dick. Then she's going to be like, I want $150. Then she's going to be like, I want $200. Then she's going to be like, I want you to pay my rent every month. Then she's going to be like, I want you to pay my rent and my car note every month. Then she's going to be like, I want you to buy me a motherfucking house. See how that works? That's why a lot of these Hollywood, man, these Hollywood guys, these moguls and shit getting fucked up, man. Trying to offer these bitches shit in exchange for pussy, man. Hey, man, I'll say this again on tricking, man. I know a lot of you guys love to trick. If you want to trick, go ahead and trick. But again, my main criticism is, if you pro tricking, why are you talking about how spoiled women are? Why are you talking about how materialistic women are? Why are you talking about how demanding women are? Why are you talking about how hard to get along they are? And just generally how fucked up they are. You contributing to why they fucked up. Because your ass is offering them unnecessary incentives and rewards. That's why they fucked up. That's why they fucked up. But you know what? During my long, relaxing, enjoyable Thanksgiving break, I had time to, and I don't like the lighting in this room, so this probably won't be my normal room, man. At least at nighttime. This is it. It's at nighttime I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm real big on, if you're either a photographer, a videographer, or you worked in the entertainment industry, one thing you learn to be big on is lighting. I'm real big on lighting. That comes from my entertainment industry and filmmaker background, man. I'm big on lighting. I don't like the lighting in this room. I'm real nitpicky about shit like that. Excuse me. I've decided, man, even though I've already said many times, if you're a new listener, a new viewer, you might not know this, so I'm going to give you the refresher for my fairly new listeners and viewers. Just about all of my free videos, the videos where you don't have to be a Patreon subscriber of mine to view and listen to, is usually going to be about me ranting about something, rambling about something, admonishing people about something, and providing responses and rebuttals either to feedback I've received from listeners and viewers, and more specifically, feedback I've received from what I refer to as my haters and critics. If you want the no rant, no ramble, no admonishment, no addressing my haters and critics type videos, basically my purely advice driven videos, then you have to become a Patreon subscriber of mine. And my Patreon link is below in the description section. You can pledge as low as $5 per month or as high as $50 per month. Right now I got over 160 Patreon subscribers. I got about 160 plus Patreon subscribers. I leave my financial support public on Patreon. Some people hide theirs. I'm keeping mine public for now. So as you can see, I got about, I think, a little bit over $1,800. Yeah, a little bit over $1,800 in financial support through Patreon. Then I have some people who support me through PayPal. They send me donations through PayPal. So yeah. And I love and appreciate all my Patreon subscribers. But yeah, I was gonna say about my free videos, man. I ain't gonna do as much as my normal addressing my haters and critics with my real angry rants, man. I mean, I'm probably gonna still do them from time to time. But man, I just realized, man, and some of my viewers and loyal followers have pointed this out to me both publicly and privately. Realistically, I'm never going to change the mind of my haters and critics about most issues related to dating, relationships, and dealing with women and attraction and seduction. And similarly, they're not going to change my mind about shit. So it's like, what's the point? I used one analogy in a previous video. I said, you can have two people come. Let's say you have two people come to the city of Chicago. And in the city of Chicago, let's say it's 65 degrees. It's 65 degrees in the city of Chicago. And you had one person that comes to the city of Chicago from a city where it was 35 degrees. And you got another friend who comes to the city of Chicago from a city where it was 95 degrees. Do you think they're going to have the same reaction when they get into Chicago? No, they're not. They're not. Even though they're experiencing the same weather, which is 65 degree weather, they're going to have a different perspective. 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 They're going to have a different perspective. The person who comes to Chicago where it's 65 degrees, and he comes from a city where it was previously 35 degrees, how is it going to feel to him? It's going to feel a lot warmer. So that's going to be his perspective. He's going to be operating from the perspective of Chicago is a lot warmer than where I was. On the flip side, your other friend who's now in Chicago that came from a city where it was previously 95 degrees, he's going to feel like it's nippy here in Chicago. He's going to feel like it's at least a little bit chilly and nippy here. And if they were to get into a discussion about the weather, they're going to have a different perspective. Even though they both experience a 65 degree weather, they're not going to look at that 65 degree weather the same way. And that's how I feel about a large percentage of my haters and critics. They haven't experienced the shit with women that I have. They just haven't. And similarly, I haven't experienced some of the shit with women that they have, good and bad. They haven't experienced the shit I've experienced. I haven't experienced the shit they've experienced. And that's where my advice comes from. My advice, like I heard one podcast host somewhat criticize the idea of putting too much emphasis on your individual experiences and, as he called them, your anecdotal experiences. But that's where all my knowledge, wisdom, insight, and advice comes from. Where else is it going to come from? JoJo down the street? Ray Ray in the next block? Bobby Joe down south? Where else is my knowledge, wisdom, insight, and advice going to come from other than my own individual experiences? That's where all my knowledge, wisdom, insight, and advice. That's one thing I said in one of my early videos. Remember I talked about matter of fact, I had a guy recently say this to me. And I've had this compliment before. I was talking to someone, I can't remember if it was a client or just an acquaintance, one of my followers, but he said, Alan, I love listening to you because I can tell you've been in the trenches. Oh, I know one of the guys who said that, among other people. Big Mike of Max City Limits fame said that. Me and Big Mike, we were talking on the phone about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he said that, man. And I appreciated him saying that. He said, Big guy, one thing I said about you, I can tell from talking to you, even though I've never met you in person. He said, I can tell you've been in the trenches. And I actually returned the compliment to him. I can tell talking to Big Mike of Max City Limits fame that he has had a lot of experiences with women that the average motherfucker ain't had. But yeah, I've had a number of my clients say that to me. And that's because, like, there's some dating coaches and PUAs I've listened to do speaking presentations. And do you know over 50% of the stuff they talk about, it don't even come from their own experiences. They be talking about the experiences of like friends of theirs or relatives of theirs or a mentor of theirs or just somebody else, another dating coach. Like, I ain't gonna call no names, but I know one dating coach I used to fuck with a few years ago. Man, I'd say probably 3/4 of his advice was based on what he heard from other dating coaches. That's all he would talk about. That would be like 3/4 of his boot camp was talking about stuff that other dating coaches had experienced. Man, I'd say I might do that at most maybe like 5 to 10% of the time, where I might talk about share some knowledge that's based on something like a close friend experienced or a relative of mine, like my brother or something. But no less than 90% of my knowledge, wisdom, insight, advice comes from my own individual experiences. Shit I've experienced. That's what Mode 1 is all about. That's what Ooh Said Again is all about. The possibility of sex is all about. And to a far lesser extent, debate about revolution. Hey man, I'm all about talking about shit that I experienced. And anyway, going back to my lack of desire to engage in all these beefs and back and forth, man. These motherfuckers, I know from just talking to the people who I'm close to, man. They've said it to me. Man, these motherfuckers ain't experienced what I've experienced. They ain't, man. They ain't experienced what I've experienced, man. I mean, y'all know some of my experience. Man, I've had a mother and daughter suck my dick at the same time. Marinate on that for a few minutes. I've had a mother and daughter take turns sucking my dick. How many of y'all motherfuckers out there can say y'all have had a mother and daughter sucking your dick? Matter of fact, just in terms of mother-daughter combos, period, I did a whole episode on Blog Talk Radio about it. I've been with at least a half a dozen mother-daughter combos. Yeah, there's been, I want to say, roughly 6 times I've had sex with a mother and daughter. At least 2 times within the context of a threesome, and 4 times I've had sex with a mother and daughter separately. I didn't have sex with them at the same time, but I had sex with them separately. So that's one experience alone that I've had that 99.9% of motherfuckers walking this earth ain't never had. They ain't never fucked no mother and daughter. I fucked 2 sisters before. I fucked 2 cousins. I fucked 2 roommates. I fucked women in multiple public venues, something most men ain't experienced. I fucked women in libraries. I fucked women in bookstores. I got my dick sucked, as you know, in a grocery store and in a major airport, LAX airport, in a restaurant. I mean, I've had sex so many times in public venues, it ain't even funny. So anyway, all that to say that, man, a lot of motherfuckers who listen to me, particularly that fall in the category of my haters and critics, man, they ain't gonna be able to relate to the shit that I've experienced in my life. They ain't gonna be able to relate to the shit I've experienced in my. And again, in fairness to them, there's some shit they've experienced that I can't relate. Like, I'll tell you one thing I can't relate to, and now I'm gonna have to bring race into the issue. I notice a lot of black men on YouTube, man. They come from a background. I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, but a lot of black men, they come from a background of family dysfunction. And see, I can't relate to that, man. I'm just going to be real about that shit. Like, for example, there's a lot of black men on YouTube who have YouTube channels, and probably even some non-black men, but definitely I know some black men, they come from a broken home, like their parents were divorced, so they had either a stepfather or stepmother. They didn't get along with their mother and or father. They didn't get along with one or more of their siblings. They didn't get along with one or more of their children, etc., etc. And I can't relate to that shit, though. I can be empathetic to it, but I can't. Like, I've had my challenges in life, and I'm not saying I've had a life full of, honey and roses. But under the category of family-related dysfunction, man, I came from almost like a Cosby Show Huxtable type family, man. My parents were married for 43 years up until my father died. And surely they had their arguments, spats, and disagreements. But overall, man, my parents, man, I had great parents, man. I got along with my mother real well. Me and my mother never had no major falling out. Me and my father never had no major falling out. I love both my parents to death. And me and my brother, we've had a couple minor falling outs over the years. Where we might have didn't speak for like maybe a month or 2. But overall, man, my brother, man, I trust my brother more than any other motherfucker walking this earth. My brother, he got my back more than anybody. And vice versa, man. So yeah, man, when I listen to a lot of these brothers, man, You know, and and here's my thing, man. Everybody's entitled to their voice. Everybody's entitled to their voice. Now, that's one thing. Even if I disagree with somebody's commentary, I believe they have a right to say what the fuck they want to say on their YouTube channel. But that don't mean I have to agree with it. Just like they don't have to agree with the shit I say. But I can tell, listening to a lot of guys, man, their voice is just different from mine. And, you know, I got to touch on this whole black women thing, man. You know, one of the criticisms I get from a lot of brothers is, Alan, you always pander to black women. You always defend black women. But my thing is this, man. Again, man, I ain't had a lot of the negative experiences with black women that a lot of these brothers on YouTube have had. Now, if they've had a lot of negative experience, they should speak on those negative experiences. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'll say that. If they've had a lot of negative, frustrating, disappointing, heartbreaking experiences with women in general, and particularly with black women, they should speak on that. They should speak on that if that's what they choose to do. If that's what they choose to do, they should speak on that. But I'm just saying, I haven't had those type of experience. I've had certain negative experience with this individual sister here, this individual sister there. But see, the difference with me is I've had bumps in the road with women of all races. So that's why I don't highlight black women. Like, I've had some disappointing and or agitating experiences with white women, with Asian women, with Hispanic women. I used to live with a Hispanic woman when I lived in Los Angeles. I lived with a white woman when I lived in Los Angeles. So I've lived with each type of woman. I've lived with a couple black women. I've lived with a Hispanic, at least one Hispanic woman. I've lived with at least one, if not two white women. Dude, I mean, so for me, they ain't no different, man. They got their unique differences, but they all of them got flaws. They might not have the exact same flaws, but I'm telling you right now, and white men know what I'm saying is true. Asian men know what I'm saying is true. Hispanic men know what I'm saying is true. All races of women got their flaws, man. And that's why I can't be down with all this black women bashing. It's not that I don't think black women are deserving of criticism, because surely a percentage of them are. But what I'm arguing is that they ain't no worse than white women. They ain't no worse than Asian women. They ain't no worse than Hispanic women. All of them got their flaws, man. All of them got their flaws. I mean, look at these Hollywood scandals. You don't see hardly no sisters coming forth with this shit. See, and I'm going to give a lighthearted generalization of white women, but me and my brother talked about this, because my brother used to deal with a lot of white women. He's had a couple of real long relationships with white women. And one thing he told me when I was young about white women, he said, man, one thing I have to say about sisters more than white women hold shit in and let it come out later. And again, I'm doing some loose generalizing here, and I really don't like to do broad generalizations. But that said, yeah, man, I think that's why you don't have too many sisters coming forward with no sexual harassment charges in a delayed manner, because sisters are the type, man, if you do something, if you exhibit behavior that's foul in their eyes, they're going to let you know right then and there. Most of them, there might be some exceptions, but most of them, they're going to let you know right then and there. They're going to be like, motherfucker, I think that the behavior you're exhibiting towards me is foul. Whereas white women, I hate to say it, but white women don't do that, man. Like, you can mess with a white woman. Like, say you mess with a white woman, you do something that's really fucked up in mid-January. A lot of white women in mid-January, they won't say shit. They won't say shit. But then come late October of that same year, they'll bring that shit up. And you'll be like, bitch, what are you talking about? That shit happened in January. They'd be like, oh, I didn't forget. You drank my last soda without asking you. I didn't forget that shit. I'm being half lighthearted, but I'm being serious, man. So I'm saying that to say that as far as, talking about women's fuckery and their flaws and weaknesses and detriments, all women got them, dude. All women got them. But yeah, man, I can't relate to some of the experiences that a lot of brothers had. Again, if they want to speak on their experience, I think everybody should speak on their experiences. Here's what I have the issue with and why I've got into some of these beefs and back and forth with some of these guys. There's some people who've experienced shit and they want everybody else to co-sign with their experiences. And I just don't get that. It's like there's some brothers, and I say really men, period. I ain't gonna just strictly limit it to brothers. There's some non-black dudes. There's a lot of guys in society that have had some fucked up experiences with women, and they think because they've had fucked up experiences with women, whether it be black women, white women, Asian women, Hispanic women, whatever, it's like they assume that all men have had the same fucked up experiences that they've had, or are going to have the same fucked up experiences that they've had. And I'm here to say that's not the truth. That ain't the truth. Just because you've had fucked up experiences with black women don't mean all black men have had fucked up experiences with black women. Again, man, I've told y'all many times, man, dude, for most of my adult life, particularly in my 20s and 30s, man, I'm just going to be real, man. Sisters have treated a brother, Alan Roger Currie, like a king, man. Again, I've had a handful of individual sisters that I didn't particularly get along with real well. But as a group, man, sisters have treated a brother like me like a king, man. You've heard all my stories. As Tony Mason said, I don't want to get into my rubbing my balls in my fucker's face, as he likes to call it. But I'm just keeping it real, man. Sisters have treated me real nice. They paid some of my bills. They cooked food for me. They've let me live with them when I was financially struggling. They let me drive their cars. I mean, I've had threesomes with black women. Foursomes with black women. Again, I've had sex with a black mother and daughter. I mean, dude, I've had all kinds of great experiences with black women. I've had 3 black women sponsor book signings for me. I ain't never had no brother sponsor no book signing for me. I've had 3 black women that sponsored a book signing for me. In 2000, between 2006 and 2008, I had 3 sisters sponsor a book signing for me for Mo 1. I didn't have not one brother offer to sponsor a book signing event for me. No, actually 4. Wait a minute. 4. I'll take that back. I've had 4. I've had 4 between 2006 and 2008. I had 4 black women sponsor a book signing event for me. 4 black women. And y'all want me to bash sisters when they're giving me that type of support. I ain't had not one brother sponsor a book signing for me. Not one. And interesting enough, the one brother who did offer to do a book signing for me is a brother that I no longer get along with. And I think y'all know who that is. He wanted to, at one point, he wanted to sponsor a book signing for my book, The Possibility of Sex, in Philadelphia. So I will say that about him. He at least offered. He offered at one point when we were cool, he offered to do a book signing, but I didn't have that book in paperback. You can only do a book signing if you have a book in paperback. And that's actually one of the few books I don't have in paperback. I only have that book in ebook version and audiobook version. But yeah, he did in fall of 2015, he had offered to do a book signing for The Possibility of Sex because he loved that book a lot. So that's the only brother that has ever offered to do a book signing for a book of mine. Other than that, man, I ain't never had no brother, man, offer to do no book signing for my books. Never. But I've had 4 sisters that did a book signing for Mo 1. And I had a couple offers from sisters to do a book signing for my book, Who Said Again. Yeah, I didn't end up having a book signing, but yeah, I had at least 2 sisters that wanted to do a book signing for Who's. Oh, I take that back. I'm thinking about it. See, sisters have given me support. I've had 5 book signing events. I keep remembering one. Well, one was kind of a semi-book signing event. It was this group of black women in Chicago. They had this book reading club. And they did like a review of my book. And so the main thing was a book review event, but secondarily it was also a book signing event. So technically, if I add that event on, I've had 5 or more black women that sponsored book signing events for Mo 1. Because, yeah, this group of black women, it wasn't just one black woman for that event. It was a group of black women. They liked, oh, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Oh, hold on. I got to do a YouTube video. I'll try that. Yeah. Yeah, I understand, man. So, going back to the issue of that criticism of Alan Roger Currie goes in much harder on black men than he does on black women. Shit. Why would I go hard in on black women when they're giving me that type of support, man? Speaking of that, and I think I told this story at least maybe 2 or 3 times already, but do you know when I did my very first co-ed speaking presentation for Mo 1? It was in January of 2006. It was in Chicago. This female attorney sponsored it. And it was about 40 black women and about 25 black men there. Now you would think on paper, given that my book is geared towards men, you would think that just about all the men, the brothers that was there, would have been in support of Mo 1, and at least half the women there would, have harsh criticism of Mo 1. Do you know it was just the opposite? It was just the opposite. And again, I think I've told this story at least once or twice in my previous video probably. Yeah, it was just the opposite, man. I would say, after the speaking presentation was over, I would say no less than 95% of the sisters that was there, they was ready to buy my book. But I didn't have it in paperback yet. That was the event that provoked me to turn it into a paperback. Because at the time of this speaking presentation, I only had it in ebook. But they was ready to buy it that night. Man, at least 35 to 40% of the brothers that was there, man, they was hating on Mo 1, man. They was hating on Mo 1. They didn't like Mo 1. Yeah, I say no less than 1/3 of the brothers that was there, man, they wasn't feeling Mo 1. They was basically like, man, I ain't trying to be honest with bitches, man. I ain't trying to be honest with these hoes, man. One of the reasons why I got multiple hoes is because I lie to all of them. I ain't trying to be honest with these hoes, man. You gonna fuck up the game promoting all this straightforward honesty shit, man. I ain't down with all this straightforward honesty shit. I like lying to hoes and bullshitting hoes and shit. That's literally what a lot of these brothers was saying, man. It was like, man, I ain't trying to be honest, upfront and straightforwardly honest with these hoes, man. A lot of them tried to argue that you can't get no pussy being honest. It was like, you can't have 4 different female sex partners by being honest. You got to make each of your 4 sex partners believe that they're the only one you fucking. And me and one dude, man, we almost got into it, man. This dude, he kept touching me like this, man. Whenever he wanted to make a point, he kept poking my chest. And after about the 3rd or 4th time, I said, brother, man, you got one more time to poke me in my chest, man. Seriously. You got one more time to poke me in my chest. And he actually, well, we got a little testy, but then he said he didn't realize he was doing it. Yeah, right. Oh yeah, me and him though, we got testy because he tried, I told him straight up, I said, and he was a big dude too. I told him, I said, man, you ain't no player, man. He kept calling himself a player pimp. He said, man, I'm a player pimp. I'm one of Chicago's top player pimps. I said, no, you're not. If you lying to bitches and misleading women, you ain't no player. And y'all have heard my previous video podcast where I talk about what I call a true player. No true player has a lot of women. If you got a lot of women to get them in bed, mislead women to get them in bed, do not ever call yourself a player, because you're not. You are not a player. You are nothing but a lying womanizer. And yeah, me and this dude, man, I thought we was going to end up coming to blows, man, because he was trying to argue that he was a player and shit, a player pimp. I said, no, you're not. I said, if you're lying to women, you are no one's player, and you are definitely no one's pimp. I said, a true player is a motherfucker who's fucking multiple women, and all the women he's fucking know he's fucking other women. Anytime I fucked multiple women, the women knew I was fucking other women. Every time in my life, starting with my early to mid-20s up until now, that I've had 2 or more sex partners, my sex partners knew I had at least one other sex partner. They knew I had at least one other sex partner. I don't lie to women. Now, I don't always volunteer information, So I will say that. I don't always volunteer information, but if a woman asks me, anytime a woman asks me, Alan, are you fucking other women? I'll say, hell yeah, I'm fucking other women. I'll look them dead in the eye. I'll be like, hell yeah, I'm fucking other women. And most of the time I tell them straight up. I'll say, this shit ain't going to be monogamous. I'll tell them that from the outset. I say, I'm not looking to have no strictly monogamous relationship with you. Oh, speaking of that. Man, y'all be killing me, man. Now, over the last 10 years, one of the new criticisms I've gotten from a lot of women, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, in respect to my books, is they'll say, Alan, you put too much emphasis on short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. That's been one of the probably top 2, top 3 criticisms I've received from women over the last 10 years. Which is not true. If they read my books thoroughly, they would see that I don't exclusively just emphasize short-term, non-monogamous sex. But guess what my latest criticism is from at least a handful of guys? I was on social media. I can't remember. It might have been either right here on YouTube or it might have been on Facebook. I can't remember where I read this. But some guys, over the last 2 to 3 weeks, guess what their criticism of me was? Some guy, at least one guy, if not 2 or 3 guys said this. Said, the problem I have with Alan Roger Currie is he puts an unrealistically high emphasis on the pursuit of long-term monogamous relationships. Man, I've been accused of a lot of things, particularly by my haters and critics. But even that one is a stretch for even my haters and critics. That one is an unbelievably ridiculous stretch, even for my haters and critics. When have I ever put special emphasis on the pursuit of long-term, strictly monogamous relationships? Obviously, this person who said that doesn't know about my book called The Beta Male Revolution. The subtitle of my book, The Beta Male Revolution, by the way, that's my best-selling paperback. I always like to point that out. Starting with July, from July through October, my best-selling paperback is The Beta Male Revolution. My best-selling ebook is Mo 1, best-selling paperback, The Beta Male Revolution, best-selling audiobook, Ooh, Say It Again. The subtitle of The Beta Male Revolution is Why Many Men Have Totally Lost Interest in Marriage in Today's Society. If you've read my books, you know I put all sexual relationships into 4 categories. I put all sexual relationships into 4 categories. Long-term monogamous, long-term non-monogamous, short-term monogamous, and short-term non-monogamous. All sexual relationships fall into some variation of one of those 4 categories. Long-term monogamous, long-term non-monogamous, short-term monogamous, and short-term non-monogamous. I think everybody has their own definition, their own criteria for what constitutes short-term versus long-term. For me, Alan Roger Currie, I consider any relationship that lasts no more than roughly a year as a short-term relationship. That's a short-term relationship. If you in a relationship that lasts, I don't know, let's say roughly 15 months or longer, then I consider that a long-term relationship. So yeah, if your relationship, that's just my criteria. You might have different criteria. Yours might be 3 months equals short-term, 6 months or longer equals long-term. Mine is a year or less. A year or less, I consider that a short-term relationship. 15 months or longer, I consider that a long-term relationship. I would say out of those 4 relationships, The relationship that I'm probably the most critical of, particularly in my book, The Beta Male Revolution, is long-term, strictly monogamous relationships, as well as strictly monogamous marriages. That's half the reason I wrote The Beta Male Revolution. I feel like of those 4 relationships, the one category of relationships I feel like is losing its appeal pretty much every year, starting with the mid-70s to now. I think it's been on a slow decline in terms of the appeal of it, is the long-term strictly monogamous relationship and strictly monogamous marriages. To me, that, and I know some people would argue that, but that's the relationship that to me is dying a slow death. And again, that's probably one of the top 2, top 3 reasons why I wrote The Beta Male Revolution, is to say to both men and women that the traditional relationships that we used to emphasize in the first half of the 20th century, I believe a few decades from now, those relationships are just not going to exist anymore. I mean, we're living in a day and age where you can pretty much design your own relationship. Now, the other 3 categories I think will always flourish. I think will always flourish, which is why I personally believe why I will always be in business. Because I've had a couple of podcast hosts, maybe even a handful, that have tried to say that, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there will be no need for dating coaches and relationship experts. I wouldn't 100% agree with that. Now, here's what I will partially agree with, speaking of those 4 categories. If you're a relationship expert that exclusively emphasizes the pursuit of long-term, strictly monogamous relationships, then yeah, I halfway agree with that. I don't think those relationship experts are going to be around 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Because again, I think long-term, strictly monogamous relationships are dying a slow death. But when it comes to long-term non-monogamous relationships, short-term monogamous, and short-term non-monogamous, man, men and women gonna always want one of those 3 relationships. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. Men and women gonna always want one or more of those 3, those other 3. Always. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, man. Those relationships are increasing in popularity. In the same way long-term monogamous relationships are decreasing in its appeal and popularity, the other 3 categories of sexual relationships are increasing. There's been articles written about that. I say out of the 3, long-term non-monogamous, what's commonly now known as polyamory. Polyamorous relationships are on the rise. They're actually on the rise. They're not on the decline. They're on the rise. That's one of the things I do. If you go to my website, mo1.net/training, that's one of the things I am. I'm a BDSM consultant and a polyamory consultant. Polyamorous relationships are on the rise in popularity. Short-term, non-monogamous sex, man, what's commonly referred to as just simply casual sex or promiscuous sex, that's going to always have some degree of appeal to it. Always. Men ain't going to never lose interest in short-term, non-monogamous sex. Ever. As long as there are heterosexual men on earth, they're going to always be interested in short-term, non-monogamous sex. And I would say, to a large extent, short-term monogamous sex is going to have its own appeal to certain percentage of men and women. So the other 3 categories, in my opinion, are going to always have appeal to them. Like I said, long-term non-monogamous relationships are actually, based on many articles I've read, those relationships are actually increasing in popularity by each decade. They're increasing in popularity. That's what a lot of my relationships have been. I've had more long-term non-monogamous relationships in my life than I've had long-term monogamous relationships. Matter of fact, when it comes to my credibility for giving advice, if I had to rank my credibility by those 4 categories, that's where I have the least credibility, is when it comes to long-term, strictly monogamous relationships. So I don't know why anybody would suggest that I'm a dating coach who emphasizes long-term. That's where my lowest degree of credibility is. I've only had a handful of those type of relationships in my entire life. If I was ranking each one based on how I feel, how strong or how weak my credibility is, my strongest credibility is the pursuit of short-term, non-monogamous sex. That's why I've had my most successful women. Is short-term, non-monogamous sex. I've had, for the most part, I've had my way with women when it comes to short-term, non-monogamous sex. That's what gave me the credibility to write my books, Mode 1 and Who Say It Again. Is my successful women when it comes to the category of short-term, non-monogamous sex. Yeah, that's where I've had my highest degree of success. Second most credibility I would say I have is long-term, non-monogamous sex. Long-term, non-monogamous sex. Third would be short-term monogamous. I've had quite a few relationships that fell in the category of short-term monogamous. And again, my least area of credibility is long-term, strictly monogamous relationships. That's where I probably ran into my most bumps in the road with women, is when it came to me trying to maintain a long-term, strictly monogamous relationship. So anyway, I don't know where that criticism came from. I actually read that just in the last week or two. Somebody said that. It was either in somebody's YouTube comment section or on Facebook or something. Somebody said, yeah, the problem I have with Alan Roger Currie, he puts an unrealistically high emphasis on the pursuit of long-term monogamous relationships and marriage. Why the fuck you think I wrote the Beta Male Revolution? Please, whoever wrote that criticism of me, y'all, you need to pick up my book, The Beta Male Revolution. And then you'll understand that I'm pretty much just the opposite of that. Shoot, I'm one of the biggest critics of long-term monogamy. I'm one of the biggest critics of long-term monogamy. I say it in my book, The Beta Male Revolution. I don't believe in long-term monogamy. I really don't. I don't believe in that shit. I've had quite a few successful short-term monogamous relationships, but when it comes to being monogamous with one woman over a period of, say, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, man, I don't believe in that shit, man. I don't know why anybody would even think I promote that shit. In general, I believe Mode 1 can apply to all 4 of those type of relationships. So I don't really limit my Mode 1 approach to any one of those 4 types. Because some women think Mode 1 is specifically limited to the pursuit of short-term non-monogamous sex. And that's actually not true. Like my brother, he's in a marriage. And he credits Mode 1 to helping him hook up with his wife. So, and I've had other guys. I had a former one-on-one face-to-face coaching client. He ended up finding his wife because of Mode 1. So Mode 1 can apply to long-term monogamous relationships. Mode 1 has helped me enter into long-term non-monogamous relationships. Matter of fact, y'all heard that audio testimonial I played in my very last free video. I had a guy who was giving credit to Mode 1 for helping him establish a long-term non-monogamous relationship with his girlfriend. I've had guys who have had a number of short-term monogamous relationships with women because of Mode 1. And I definitely have had a lot of men who have experienced a lot of short-term non-monogamous sex because of Mode 1. So there you go. There you go. There you go. All right, fellas. I think I'm going to call it a night. Like I said, I don't like the lighting. Yeah, I don't like the lighting. I'm probably going to end up changing to another room in my new digs, but I'm happy to be in my new digs. Yeah, like I said, this is my new home office. I'm getting everything organized. So I'm going to be, I don't know if I'll do another free video this week. I might, I doubt it, but I'm definitely going to do at least one Patreon exclusive video, and I might end up doing 2 more between Wednesday and Sunday. I might do as many as 2 Patreon exclusive videos, but at minimum I'm going to do 1 Patreon exclusive video. Now I got to remind you, I said this I think in my last video, this is a busy time of year for me. So, you know, if I'm slow uploading videos, man, bear with me, because if there's 2 periods of the year I'm busy with a lot of consultation clients as well as a lot of one-on-one face-to-face coaching clients. It is between December and February. I do a lot of one-on-one face-to-face coaching. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in Las Vegas in that week in between Christmas and New Year's. I'm already, I want to say, doing 2 one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions in Vegas. I'm going to be in Vegas on the 27th, 28th, 29th. Yeah, these are, I'll say over the last 5 years, my 2 busiest times of the year when it comes to one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions is between December and February, and then secondly between May and August. Between December and February and between May and August. That's when I'm become the most busy with one-on-one face-to-face coaching sessions as well as Skype. Like I got a lot of Skype and telephone consultations booked this week. Like Wednesday, I know just on Wednesday alone, I think I got about 5 Skype and telephone consultations on Wednesday. So, yeah. So, as I said, bear with me. Anyway, until the next video, Mode 1, baby. Make shit happen. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.